says that we're talking about animals and nutrition. And the title is When Your Narcissist Friend Hires You a Psychic. And how are those things connected? Well, I'm going to tell you how. It has to do with the fact that whoever pays for the service is the one who is the quality control on the service. And this is one of the reasons that socialized medicine doesn't work. It's one of the reasons that you don't want to put your very small, inarticulate child into daycare. You're not going to be able to have the kind of quality control if the person who is the ultimate consumer on the whatever the service is not the person who's paying for it. And I think this is one of the aspects of the economy that people really don't understand. They think, well, if I buy you a bar of chocolate, it's still a bar of chocolate. Who cares that I'm not the one who's eating it? But if you're not the one who's eating it, you don't know that the chocolate doesn't taste good. And this was the reason that under communism in Poland, chocolate became unpalatable. Okay, but why did I decide to make this my title? I mean, when your narcissist friend hires you, your psychic. Well, because I have been watching Dr. Ramani, and she just recently came out with a talk about why it is that people who are in a narcissistic relationship will often turn to a psychic. And you can watch her live stream to find out what she said about that. But the basic conclusion from all that is when people are uncertain of themselves, when they are feeling stressed, anxious, and they don't know what's going to happen, and they don't feel that they have any control over the situation, they go to a psychic. And why do they go to a psychic? They go to a psychic to seek reassurance. So the psychic will tell them everything's going to be okay when the moon is full or the signs are right. Everything in your life will be as it should be. Here has Summer's own ideas. Oh, here's Summer. Summer likes oatmeal. Summer likes seeds, and people are trying to convince me that I shouldn't listen to what Summer likes because he doesn't know what's good for him, and that instead I should be feeding him whatever their nutritional theory for birds says they should be eating. So this is the same thing. So this is a story time, and I'm going to now tell you a story about how I had a friend, and my friend and I probably had a bizarre relationship in the sense that when I finished writing Vacuum County, I brought her the manuscript, and I was hoping she would read it and share with me her impressions of it. And it wasn't necessarily the case that I wanted Summer to, that I wanted my friend to say only good things about it, but I did want to know her impression. Well, she took the manuscript and didn't read it, and I was waiting for her to have read it for 20 years when she informed me that she had thrown it away. So I don't know if that's really narcissistic or what it is, but it was something wrong with our friendship. And it went on for a very long time. And anyway, during one of the years of our friendship where I didn't know there was anything wrong in our friendship, it was my birthday, and she wanted to give me a gift. And she had this psychic who was living, and I'm going to chime in here. You guys want to come in and talk to us too? What's up? What's up? Is everything okay? Okay, great. So anyway, her situation was that she had two houses, one that she used to live in and one that was her new house. And she had her psychic friend living in her house. And her psychic friend owed her money and was not paying rent. So when she decided she was going to give me a birthday present, she said, how about I give you a free psychic reading with this friend? She owes me money, so she has to do your reading. Okay. Now, I didn't really think very hard about this. She was offering me something for free. I don't believe in psychics. I did not believe in psychics at the time. But here's what I thought was going to happen when I went to a psychic, because this is what I'd always heard about psychics, that it would be a pleasurable experience, that even though the psychic would tell me exactly what I wanted to hear, and the psychic wouldn't have any insights into anything, she might tell me something like, you're going to meet a dark, handsome stranger, or you'll have the baby that you always wanted, or your books will sell, and you'll have an audience for your books, or whatever it is that I wanted to hear. Okay, so I thought, this is going to be completely harmless. I'm going to see the psychic. The psychic will tell me cheerful things. I will feel better, and I will just have more courage to go on with my life. So I went to see the psychic, and the psychic asked me ridiculous questions like how to spell my name, and she did math on the letters in my name. And one of the reasons that's obviously ridiculous to me as a linguist is my name can be spelled in different ways. It doesn't come from English. There's a different alphabet, and there's a different way to transliterate it. And so I'm pretty sure that nothing about my name has anything to do with anything that's going on in my life, and certainly not with any mathematics of how you add my letters together, because they're different letters and different alphabets and different ways of writing. So I was internally, I was laughing at this whole thing, but I was waiting for the part that would be pleasant for me, and what I thought she was going to say is, you're a very unusual person. You have a lot of talents. People don't appreciate you yet, but your time will come and you'll meet the man of your dreams, and your book sales will take off and you'll have everything you want. And of course, I knew that if she did say that, that wouldn't really be the truth. But on that particular day, I just needed cheering up, and I thought that might be fun. Well, you know what she told me? She told me my books would never sell. I was never going to have a baby unless I compromised with a man that I didn't love. And so on and so forth. And that no wonderful soulmate was ever on the horizon for me. And she said that if I wanted to have books that sold, I should stop writing fiction and I should write nonfiction how-to books. That wasn't what I wanted to hear. So when I went away from this psychic reading, I was very depressed. Oh my God, I was never going to have a baby. I was never going to find my true love. I was never going to sell my books. And she basically told me why I was never going to sell my books. She said, you're just not important enough for anybody to listen to you. Okay. Now, why did I get that psychic reading? Why didn't I get a different psychic reading? So I stewed on this for a very, very long time, trying to figure it out. How come when everybody else goes to see a psychic, they get cheered up? It might not be the truth. It might not be what's actually going to happen, but at least it gives them courage to go on. And how come when I go to see a psychic, it's like this? Well, I think the answer is, who paid for the psychic? Not me. So who is being served by the psychic? Not me. Now, in this particular case, the psychic really was not even paying my friend. I mean, my friend was not paying the psychic. She was letting the psychic live in her house for free, but because the psychic was late on the rent, the psychic may have resented both me and my friend and just decided to be mean to both of us. I mean, it was a terrible birthday gift. There was no benefit in it whatsoever. Um, but the same kind of thing happens. Let's say you have an elderly relative and you can't take care of them and you send them to a nursing home. Why is a nursing home such a dangerous place for your elderly relative? It's not because if you pay people to take care of you, they will always be bad. But if there is nobody watching out for the relative and the relative isn't paying for the nursing home, then there's no feedback loop for quality control. And because there is no feedback loop, oftentimes the nursing home will take advantage of the people there, and the people who are paying for the service may not know that this is happening. And that's why I think that if somebody is elderly and they do need someone to help take care of them, there's nothing wrong with that. And there is nothing wrong with helping, with hiring a caretaker. But the person who hires the caretaker needs to be able to fire the caretaker. And that way, there's a feedback loop for quality control. The same thing goes for why daycare is so dangerous for infants, especially. It's not because it's wrong to pay someone to help take care of your child, but if your child can't tell you what's going on, there's no feedback loop. And whether or not the daycare does a good job taking care of your child when you're not looking is entirely up to chance and is not something that you can monitor. In the same way, when health insurance is paid for by an employer or the government, then the person who is sick has a lot less control over the kind of care that they get. And that's why socialism doesn't work. That's why if you don't get to decide which supplier of food for you succeeds and which one fails, then you don't have any control over the quality of your food. Okay? And this is true for parents as well. So if I don't get to ask Summer what kind of food Summer likes to eat, then Summer's not going to get the best food. And I know that there are dogs who are dying because their caretakers buy them food, don't really give them a lot of choices about what food they eat. And when you have no choice, you're going to eat what you're given. And that food may not be good for you, but you really have no choice in the matter. And you eat it until you die. And this is what happened in Poland to the Vadel chocolate. So I'm going to later link that down in the description box. And you could read the book by Irena Narell about this, Ashes to the Taste. And She was a communist. She believed in communism. She was a socialist. She believed in socialism. But then when she saw what happened to the chocolates under communism, she changed her mind. And I think all of us would change our mind if we were ever in a situation where we didn't get to choose what we ate or where we went or what we did or what sort of services we paid for. When that happens, we lose quality control. And that's what happens with psychics too. I know it sounds funny, like, what does it matter what a psychic says? It's all nonsense. But it's not nonsense. It's a service people are willing to pay for. Sometimes a person needs to be cheered up. And this is also, why religions proliferate. And I'm not going to come here and say, don't go see your psychic or don't go to your church of choice or synagogue or mosque. If it makes you feel better, if it's worth your money to pay that tithe, by all means do so. But don't let somebody else nationalize that service, whatever it is, because then you're not going to get your money's worth. Now, I don't know in this particular case, when I went to a psychic paid for by my friend, whether that was why I didn't get what I wanted from the psychic, or whether my friend actually wanted that to be said to me and asked the psychic to say that. Was she sending me a message that I should change my ways and do things that are more interesting to her? She liked self-help books. She, I guess, didn't like my writing. And there you have it. Now, I think that if you do have a friend who is a writer and you don't like what they write, you shouldn't hide that. You shouldn't take the book and throw it away and not tell them about it. You should probably just say, it's not to my taste. It's not my kind of thing. So I'm not going to read it. But don't try to destroy your friend, because that's not nice. There might be somebody else that your friend's book is suitable for. And why not just let the market decide, right? The market of those people who want to buy it. So that's another reason why I think that negative reviews that are just based on, I don't like this kind of book, are kind of pointless. If it's not the kind of book you like, don't buy it, don't read it, and don't get involved in the process of reviewing it. If it is your kind of book, then say what you liked about it and say what you thought could have been better about it, and that will at least be helpful to someone. And in a way, those reviews by people who never bought the book or who bought the book only in order to review it are not helpful also, because again, it's just like hiring a psychic. If it's not the normal person who would be buying the book, their opinion really has nothing to do with what people who would buy the book would think about it. So there you have it. Since narcissists are in the news, and since psychics are in the news, I thought I would just give you my 2 cents worth. Every service that there is out there on the free market is for a purpose. If it's really something that people would pay for, then it probably does something for them. But if you get somebody else to pay for it, it will not be the same service. So if you're having trouble explaining to your socialist friends why healthcare paid for not by the person who uses the healthcare is no good, you might try telling them this story about the psychic who was hired by a friend, because it's the same principle. And I think that Summer would agree. Summer tells me what he wants to eat, and he may not know exactly what's good for him. But do you really think a pellet manufacturer knows better? Think about that. And this is what hiring a psychic and nutrition for animals have to do with each other. So I hope you have a wonderful day. Follow the links in the description. If you want to be able to participate in these live streams more, you might want to not only click subscribe, but also click the bell. And that way you will be notified in real time whenever I do one of these live streams. And for now, have a wonderful day and enjoy everything that you buy for yourself on the free market. Bye now.